something called data integrity. Data integrity. Data integrity. Data integrity, and we write that this refers to the accuracy. This refers to the accuracy and consistency. This refers to the accuracy and consistency or validity.
For business purpose. Business purpose.
Or validity is the spelling of the word validity, V-A-L-I-D-I-T, or validity of data over its life cycle. Over its life cycle. Full stop. Data integrity. Data integrity may be compromised in many ways, such as data integrity may be compromised in many ways, such as number one, human error. Human error. Number two, transfer errors. Transfer errors. Number three, viruses. Viruses. Comma. Bugs. B-U-G-S. Bugs. Comma. Hacking. Hacking. And other cyber threats. Hacking and other cyber threats. Number four is compromised hardware. Compromised hardware. Compromised hardware, e.g., disk crash. Disk crash. Number five is physical compromises to devices. Physical compromises to devices. Yeah, so here we are saying data integrity has to do with the accuracy of the data, the consistency of that data. And throughout the life cycle, we already have discussed the life cycle of data. Na tukasema it has to do with right from the source of the data all the way to the time we think the data is no longer useful and we want now to throw it away. It's just like now, you people, you are in this class, you are gathering this data. This is the source. Na utaenda ujipange nayo na ikusaidie mpaka kwa mtihani. Ile time utapita mtihani, these notes now will no longer be useful to you. So you will be deciding, do I throw them away? Do I do academic fire? I ban the books, or do I keep them somewhere? That is what we call the life cycle of data. So throughout that life cycle, we want our data to be accurate, to be consistent. Now, unfortunately, we have many issues that can come and compromise. One is human error, mtu anaharibu tu. Number two is transfer errors. When someone is transferring data from one source to the other, unapata kuna issue. Like yesterday, I was transferring a document from my email to WhatsApp. I was sending to someone. The document, I think, is 136 pages. But what went to, or what WhatsApp was able to pick was 53 pages. Yeah, so now if I sent that without checking, the person would have thought that is all that I was sending. It is just a transfer error, which may be even not deliberate. The other thing is these cyber issues, cyber threats, hacking, viruses, bugs, all those attacks that are there. You can also have a hardware that is compromised. You can put a flash that has issues, inakuja na inaharibu data. The other day, I think my daughter came from school with a flash, ilikuwa I think na virus. Akaweka tu kwa laptop yangu, kazima. So those are things that come and compromise on the data. Physical damages or physical compromise. Sasa ni pale mtu anachukua kama ni computer anagonga, laptop anaangusha. So all those kind of things they compromise. Then tuendelee hapo chini tuseme the 5 principles of data and integrity. The 5 principles of data integrity can be described using an acronym. Can be described using an acronym. ALCOA. Using an acronym ALCOA. Yeah, so that acronym, those 5 letters, they represent 5 principles of data integrity. So I want us to discuss each one of them. The first one is called attributable. Or we say attributable. 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 And we explain to the person who generated it. To the person who generated it. The person who generated. Number 2 is called legible. We put a hyphen, we say permanent. Permanent.
This is
Number 3, naitwa contemporaneous. 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 We explain. Recorded when the event is happening. Recorded when the event is happening. Recorded when the event is happening. Haya, hiyo ingine ni original. Original. Original, explain. Not transferred to alternate formats. Not transferred to alternate formats. Not transferred to alternate formats. Alternate formats. And the last one is accurate. Accurate. We put a hyphen and we say free of errors. Free of errors. Yeah, so if someone was to ask you about the 5 principles of data integrity, you will talk about ALCOA. So the first one we are saying is attributable. If you want to know that data is legit, is okay, we should know who is the source. Nani alisema hiyo maneno? Yeah, that's why you see even in the newspapers, they will never write an article without indicating who is the author of that. Yeah, even books, we must indicate so and so dear man. Andika hiyo kitabu. Then it must be legitimate, or rather it must be legible. You must do data in a way that we can read and in a way that is permanent. The other thing is it must be contemporaneous. You must try as much as possible to record data as it is happening. When we go to the company, the other day I was consulting for someone and was telling me they want books of accounts, but they don't want me to use the original data, their real data. They just want me to book the figures. Now that compromises on the integrity. Data should be captured as it is happening. Tumeuza andika hiyo. Tumepata pesa andika hiyo. Now that is what now over time we should use. And we are also saying data should be in the original format. Don't keep on changing it so much. If you get into statistics, you'll find there is what we call primary data and secondary data. Now, primary data is what you get from the source, and secondary is what someone else had already gathered. Like now, you people, what you are copying is secondary because you are not the originator. I have gathered it from somewhere. And even myself, I may not be the original source because I also maybe read books and gathered in my book. Yeah. So how accurate is that? That's an issue that we need to check. The other, and that's why now we are talking of the accuracy. It needs to be free of errors. Good. Tuendelee hapo chini na tuandike. The main types of data integrity are the main types of data integrity are the main types of data integrity are number one, naitwa physical integrity. Physical integrity. Physical integrity. And we explained that this means protecting the accuracy. This means protecting the accuracy. Comma. Correctness. Correctness. This means protecting the accuracy, comma, correctness, and wholeness. Wholeness, yeah, W. And wholeness of data when it is stored and retrieved. And wholeness of data when it is stored and retrieved. When it is stored and retrieved. Yeah, so this one has to do with the physical protection that we give to our registry. Where our data is kept, the files. We ensure that they are well protected, our data is correct, where it is stored, and even when we will go for it, it is in good condition. Number two is logical integrity. Logical. L-O-G-I-C-A-L. Logical integrity. And write that this ensures that data remains unchanged. This ensures that data remains unchanged. This ensures that data remains unchanged. When, or rather, while being used in different ways. Data remains unchanged while being used in different ways through relational databases. Through relational databases. Through relational databases. It has four formats. It has four formats. One inaitwa entity, or Roman one is entity format, or rather entity integrity. Entity integrity. Entity integrity, and we write that this ensures that data cannot be listed. This ensures that data cannot be listed multiple times. Data cannot be listed multiple times. And fields in a table cannot be null. Cannot be listed multiple times. And fields in a table cannot be null or empty. Empty. Number two, Roman 2 inaitwa referential. Referential integrity. From the word reference. Referential integrity. And we write that this ensures that data remains stored. This ensures that data remains stored and used in a uniform manner. This ensures that data remains stored and used in a uniform manner. Remains stored and used in a uniform manner. Number 3 inaitwa domain integrity. Domain integrity. This guarantees the accuracy of pieces of data. This guarantees the accuracy of pieces of data within a domain. Within a domain. Within a domain. And number 4 is called user defined integrity. User defined integrity.
Enhancing efficiency
and we explain that these are rules and constraints. These are rules and constraints around the data. Around the data which are created by users. Which are created by users to align with specific requirements. Which are created by users to align with specific requirements. So we are saying that here, first of all, when we talk about logic, we are talking of whether it is making sense, whether it's going to serve the purpose. So we would want our data that as we use it in the relational database. Relational database is a database where we keep structured data. And structured data is data that is able to show the patterns. We are able to see that hii ikiongezeka, this is what happens. If we sell 10 units, each at 10 shillings, then the total amount is 100. So there is a correlation. So when we are using that, we want it to be of high integrity. And there are 4 types. Number 1 is what we are calling entity. Now, entity has to do with the data not being listed more than 1 time. If, for example, we are entering employees' details, the payroll that we are preparing, no single name should appear twice. Yeah. Then we should also not have fields that are empty. Actually, we'll be coming to prepare some tables here and realize if you have some fields that are empty, Excel will decline to proceed. So that is about entity. Then reference has to do with is the data in a uniform way. Can we make a reference there? We always make reference to what is similar to us. That's why you see even in courts of law, they talk of precedents. We are referring. Then domain, we want to check that within that area, domain is like an area. Whatever is there is accurate. And then finally, as a user, you can come up with your own rules. You say that hapa kwangu data itakuwa inawekwa hivi. This is what we shall be doing so that you are able to meet your requirements. Good. Down there tuendelee tuandike hivi. Data integrity can be ensured by such actions as number 1, validating the inputs. Validating the inputs. Validating the inputs. Number 2, removing duplicates.
Yes.
Removing duplicates. Number 3, having a backup data. Having a backup data.
This one is Delegate to the rate. You know,
Another one is creating access controls. Creating access controls.
Which last you CPA.
Then number 5 is always keeping an audit trail. Always keeping an audit trail. Always keeping an audit trail. So we are saying, if you have a set of data and you want to ensure that it is of high integrity, it is accurate and consistent, these are some of the things you can do. Number 1, you validate. To validate means, don't just get data and start putting it. Confirm the source, confirm the accuracy, confirm the errors that are there have been removed. Number 2, remove duplicates. Later on, maybe I'll show you how to remove duplicates from the Excel. The other thing is always have a backup, a fallback plan. When you have a backup, when you are saving data, when you have a backup, it is very, very important. You can remember those days when some of us had not known how to back up our contacts in the Google, in our emails. Anytime you lost your phone, then all the contacts and whatever you had is in a potea. But nowadays, with the backup that we have, if you have activated it, hata simu yako ikikuwa na shida, when you get a new one, all that information inarudi. The other thing is you need to have access controls, passwords, and so on. The other day I was dealing with a client who was suspecting that his people are interfering with his data. And he had to put, or we had to put a lot of access, a lot of passwords. And when we even told him to show his IT guys how to make some of those changes, he was not comfortable. He wanted it to be done by someone from outside, so that anyone who is inside does not know those passwords and does not know how to access the data. Those are things that you can do depending on how sensitive your data is and depending on how you trust your employees. Because there are some other guys now, akipata your data, they can hold you at ransom. Then ensure that there is always the audit trail. The beauty with computers, they always keep an audit trail. Hata ukidelete, hata ukimake inactive, the moment you enter an entry in most of the softwares like in a QuickBooks and the other, auditor akikuja ama mwenye anafanya hiyo analysis atakuja na ataangalia na ataona there is something that was done. Haya, then down there another paragraph inasema data phishing. Data phishing ile ya samaki. Data phishing, all dredging, D-R-E-D-G-I-N-G, data phishing or dredging refers to the misuse of data mining techniques. It refers to the misuse of data mining techniques to falsely suggest trades, falsely suggest trades and correlations, falsely suggest trades and correlations within a sub data set. Within a sub data set that does not appear in the full data set. That does not appear in the full data set. Full stop. This creates an existential threat. This creates an existential, E-X-I-S-T-E-N-T-I-A, existential threat. This creates an existential threat to the integrity of data decision making. This existential threat to the integrity of data decision making, since it ignores the principle of since it ignores the principle of representative samples. The principle of representative samples. And it twists the data. To the will of the analysts, and twist the data to the will of the analysts, rather than the analysts to the will of the data. Rather than the analyst to the will of the data. The will of the data. Yeah, so what you're saying here is that data fishing, to fish is to go and extract. You go and get something from the water. It's also called dredging. It is where you want to manipulate data to create a false impression with the intention of making someone to make a decision, which you know so well that if you are to show them the correct pattern, they will make a different decision. When I've read that, I have just remembered back in the days when we were young men, and we were looking for girls. You'd go and borrow a suit from your friend, kama huna suit, and go to visit the girl. And when now you're in that suit, the girl might make a different decision from when you do not have the suit. And some people were in trouble because the girl would come to the house, and after staying, and she's asking now to wash the suit, aliona, anagundua hakuna, it was borrowed. So you created an impression in a small, just one day, but it's not what is happening in reality. Yeah, and that can make someone to feel so frustrated. And there are people who do this in data. Anakuja na kuonyesha how it is working, how it's working. You make a decision. When you get there, you realize it's not. Yeah. So that is very unethical. And unfortunately, people who are good in statistics, they are able to manipulate. They show you it is working, but it's not actually working. Actually, it ignores the principle of representation, and is where someone uses data to fit their narrative instead of allowing data to speak for itself. Data to speak for itself. You see, it's like what I've seen in social media, and I'm sure you have seen this. Someone posts, which is the best college in town? Have you seen those posts?
Yeah.
Then you find maybe 20 or 50 people have responded. And a big proportion of those responses are pointing towards one college. That is data fishing. It's data fishing. It is done by, I can talk to like 50 of my friends and 50 students or people who are in social media. Niwaambie one of us ataweka kakitu. Then the rest of us, maybe a few of us can talk about another college, but the rest tuongea about destiny. So anyone who is there innocent, just looking at what is flowing in, ataona hii mtu aliuliza ni college gani mzuri. Hii na kila mtu anasema ni destiny. Then destiny must be a good one. Alafu sasa unakuja, unaanza kushangaa, hii ndio destiny niliona kila mtu akisema ni mzuri. What were they saying? It is and unfortunately by the time unakuja kuuliza kama hii ndio destiny, ushalipa pesa yako, and fees once paid cannot be cannot be refunded. Sasa ni ukae hapo uvumilie mpaka mwisho. It is wrong. It is wrong. It's unethical.
I've also noticed, okay, one of my colleagues ukimpa akufanyie, okay, high tax. Kuna wakati ata feed from the P9, but if down there the balance inaonesha kuna something you owe the government ama the other way around, ataanza change a few things here and there. Mpaka aone imekuwa zero. So I'm not sure, is that also fishing?
Yes, that's also quite phishing. It is compromising the data. It's not showing the reality. Yeah, because sasa anaonyesha KRA una deni yao lakini uko na pesa.
Maybe something.
Yes. Because sasa kama you see now akishafanya hivyo KRA will not write to you to pay. But kama angeachana nayo KRA would call you. Nowadays naona ukifile to the following day kama hujalipa wanakupigia. It's easy, especially when you are filing hizi kina MRI, the monthly rental incomes. Hata hizi pay, they call. Na ukikakaa unarushiwa demand letter. So you see now kama umewaonyesha uko zero, hawatakuongelesha. Lakini kama umewaonyesha kuna pesa you owe them, wangekuongelesha. So you have manipulated the data so that the user makes a different decision. Na ikijulikana, it becomes difficult. Yeah, it becomes very bad. So that's type of data phishing and ranging. But now, unfortunately, at times it becomes difficult because sasa wewe ukiulizwa unataka kulipa tax.
You also want them to kuonyesha nili hapo.
Hata wewe unataka kuonyesha nili. That's why some of these jobs become difficult for some of us. Because client anakuambia mimi sitaki kulipa kitu. Nataka utengeneze those books. Last week I was having a guy who was telling me to make 2 sets of books. Kuna ile ya anapelekea financial na ile anapeleka kwa gava ya tax. So you make them to look different. Kwa gava unaonyesha he's performing weak, poorly, even losses. But to the financial you show a very strong person. Yes. So take note of these 2 questions. There is August 2023, question 8. August 2023, question number 8. December 2022, question 14. December 2022, question number 14. Okay, from there, let's now look at cloud computing. Cloud computing. L. Cloud computing. Mawingu. And we write that this refers to the use of hosted services. This refers to the use of hosted services such as data storage servers, databases, networking, and software over the internet. So you say this refers to the use of hosted services such as data storage, servers, databases, networking, and software over the internet. Have you gotten that, Brady? The use of hosted services such as data storage. Okay, good. Then we write that cloud computing can either be classified. Cloud computing can either be classified based on the deployment model. Or type of service. Yeah, so that is where now you have everything kept in the clouds. You don't have now the physical servers here. You
You
only
said
need to
type of-
connect. Huh?
You said or types of?
All type of service
Oh,
based on the deployment model or the type of service. Yeah. So saying here is where we have everything stored in a cloud. So you are already given a password, and then you are able to access that facility. Like I'm sure you have seen these QuickBooks online. Even if you have not used it, if you're in social media, QuickBooks have really put a lot of effort to promote it. And all what you require, you don't require a guy. Okay, Lynn is saying she can't hear me. The others, can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay, okay. So now let me write to Lynn. She restarts her gadget because if the others are yeah, Lynn, just restart your device. If you find that you're not hearing me when the others can hear, that's the first remedy. Actually, we have to be logged out. Lynn, can you hear me now? Yeah, and because I can see we have just 10 minutes, I think we can just call it also a day at that point. Let's meet tomorrow, God willing. And tomorrow now we shall finish a bit of this cloud computing and get to Excel. So tomorrow,